Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your girl Calphony here. Today we are in Koini Naritai Aquarium Daya from Love Live from Aqua. Love Live is Sunshine. Isn't she so cute? Let me give you a little... I'm not wearing the socks because the socks are too big, and I'm not wearing the little pearls because the pearls broke. There's a little bow in the back. I haven't worn this outfit in forever and there's like no good excuse for it because look how goddamn cute this is. This is actually my least favorite Daya wig. I have two. One is this one that I got from a company that turned out to be scamming people. It was the first wig that I ever got when I started cosplaying, so I didn't really know any better. It's also really bad quality. It tangles so horrendously. I paid like $40 for this wig and it's hot garbage. But I ordered a new one from Arda, which is only slightly better. It doesn't tangle quite as bad. I was just complaining about my Tianyi wig, and that was also from Arda, so... Today we are reading stories from r/TalesFromRetail, which I'm really excited for because I work in retail pharmacy. It's gonna be really fun, a new subreddit, but without any further ado, let's get right into the stories. Our first story comes from user Boloramaguy. I was working as a cashier/salesperson at a now defunct chain that carried electronics, car audio, appliances, computers, CDs, etc. This was back when heavy tube televisions were still a thing. What are heavy tube televisions? Oh, it's the ones that when you press on the screen, it kind of like does a weird staticky thing with your finger. The old TVs that you could plug the red, the yellow, and the white things in so you could play your video games. I had some of those. The store manager gives us a game plan for Black Friday, and my station was in the television department, first register, closest to the front door. The doors open, and immediately I have a line of people. One rather large man asks, "Where are the 32-inch televisions?" And instinctively, I said, "The next aisle over," and he goes over there. I mean, technically my answer wasn't wrong. They were in that aisle, but he meant the ones on sale. Lol, oops. He comes back, and I had to tell him they were already out of stock. Boy, was he mad. A few hours later, the store manager pulls out a few 32-inch TVs from the back. He was hiding, so it looked like the store still had a few in stock and people at like 1 p.m. were getting a deal. Bro, that store manager scammed that poor man. Scammed him straight out of a 32-inch television. I worked in like retail restaurants and things like that, so I guess restaurants considered retail. Yes, they are retail. I worked at Waffle House. When I worked Black Friday, it was never like that big of a deal because none of the places I've ever worked in my life have been like a grocery store or someplace like that. I worked at a roller skating rink, I worked at a movie theater, I worked at Waffle House, and I work at a pharmacy now. Have I really only had 4 jobs my entire life? Well, like, I'm a model, so I guess modeling, but I don't consider that a job. That's fun. That's not a job for me. It's what I like to do. So I did work in retail, but like not normal retail, I should say. But whenever I worked Black Friday, I never had stuff like sell out, or I never had to like promise people things or like do sales or things like that. Everything that was like available for Black Friday was just kind of there. Well, at a movie theater, if you're coming in to see the movie on Black Friday, I mean, I don't think you're gonna get that many discounts because I feel like Black Friday deals are more for like things, not events, or if you know what I mean. You know, does that make sense? Is that tracking? At the roller skating rink, I was the DJ. So no one's gonna come in and be like, "Can I get a deal on those inline skates?" At Waffle House, shit isn't on sale there to begin with ever. And then a pharmacy, we don't even make the prices based on your insurance. So nowhere that I worked did I ever really have to deal with Black Friday or Black Friday deals. So thankfully I never had to deal with that. Fun story from when I was the DJ at a roller skating rink though. It was right around the time that Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars had just come out, and so all the kids were coming in being like, "Can you play Uptown Funk You Up? Can you play Uptown Funk You Up?" And for some reason, that drove high school me fucking crazy. I'm like, no, our system doesn't update that fast. We don't have any of the new songs. And then I would go to like my school and I'd be like, these fucking kids, it's Uptown Funk. Uptown Funk. It's not Uptown Funk You Up. I'm gonna beat. So that got on my nerves. Also at that same roller skating rink, I got my ex-boyfriend a job there. because my friend's mom was one of the managers there. So I got the job, and then vice versa, I got him the job. And then he cheated on me with one of my coworkers there, and then lied and said that he didn't. Let's go to the next story. Our next story is from user Major_Wolf. This is a first. Here's a bit of context. I work at a grocery store that requires us to scan or enter manually, if they can't be scanned, everyone's ID for any age-restricted item. Alcohol, tobacco, cold medicine, etc. Regardless of age. Annoying, I know. I have to do the same thing. And people always ask, but it's not a narcotic. Yes, Mary, but people make meth out of Sudafed, so give me your ID. Story starts here. I had a guy come up to the register with some cold medicine, which triggered the prompt to scan ID. Me. Okay, sir, I'm gonna need to see your ID. Customer. Why do you need ID for cold medicine? Plus, I'm in my 30s. At this point, it was no longer about store policy asking for ID, but state law, which dictates we ID anyone under 40 years or younger. Me. Well, there's an ingredient in cold medicine that's used for making some pretty hard drugs, which is why it's an age-restricted item. Also, it is company policy to ID everyone regardless of age. See what I just said about the meth? Customer. I don't do drugs. Me. Sir, I didn't say you do, just explaining why an ID is required. The guy didn't have an ID on him, but he had a picture on his phone of the temporary ID you get from the DMV while waiting for the card itself in the mail. Me. I'm sorry, sir, but I can't take this. I need a physical ID as a photo can be altered. Customer. Okay, I have it in my car, let me just go get it. Customer returns a few minutes later carrying a piece of paper and hands it to me. Me. Sir, I need the actual temporary ID, not a physical picture of the temporary ID, as again, a picture can be altered. There was a little more back and forth with him questioning why we couldn't accept it, and I decided to call up the acting manager on duty, who told him exactly what I said and to come back with an actual documentation. TLDR, customer brought in a printed out picture of his temporary ID when told we can't accept pictures of IDs. I've had people come in with like a picture on their phone of an ID, or like a voided out ID, like literally one that has like the punch out that says void on it. And I sit there and I stare at it and I'm like, I don't think I can legally take this as a form of ID. And they're like, but it was my ID. And I'm like, but it's a void. I just work here, man. I don't make the rules. I hate that though. It puts me in such a spot, like especially when they're picking up like a narcotic medication and they're like, well, I don't have my ID, and I'm like, ooh, I really can't fucking help you. I need an ID. And then my manager will sometimes come over and be like, don't worry about it, and then just type in the manager's shit and bypass it, and I'm like, okay, so next time when they come back and I'm gonna need to see their fucking ID, they're gonna be like, well, you didn't need to see it last time. We did. The manager just took the easy way out. And I fucking hate when managers do that. I hate when managers will agree with you and tell you the rules and tell you the rules and tell you the rules. And then when you try and enforce them, but a customer's upset, then they're like, you know, it's all right, just this one time. No, not just this one time. Because then they're gonna tell their friends that they can do it, or they're gonna come back and they're gonna be like, well, you did it to me before, you did it for me before. Ooh. Yeah, I bet they did, because they have no fucking backbone. No backbones in this country anymore. Our next story comes from user expensive-love-6785. Woman refuses compromise, then blames us. For context, this happened about 2 years ago when I worked at a boba shop. It was located in a mall and one out of two of the only locations in our city. All employees, except managers, were teenagers or college students, ages ranging from 14 to 19. 14? Where the fuck are you working where you can hire somebody at 14? It's been a minute since I've been a child, hang on. I thought it was 15. You work at 13. 14! Would you look at that? I thought it was 15. Maybe it was. No, wait, hang on. I think when I was younger, it was 15 as the youngest, is that most people would hire you at 15 as the youngest, and then 16 is where most people got hired around. This day was pretty slow, and it was just me, 15F, and my coworker, 17F, working that day. These two women come up and are starting to order, asking a few questions, but it's normal. I was on cashier, and one of the ladies asked me if she can get extra sugar in the matcha milk. I tell her that our matcha powder is already a formulated powder with sugar in it, so we really aren't allowed to put more sugar in. You'll see why. It's two different sugars. It's stupid, but it's our rules. She starts getting an attitude, rudely asking why, so I politely explain that our sugar is thick, syrupy cane sugar, and we aren't really allowed. She starts throwing a tantrum and makes a big deal out of picking a new drink. Panicked, me and my coworker, trying to people please, tell her that we can put the sugar in for her and put it in our shakers, but the milk might turn out a little frothy. She says, no, it's whatever, all curt. Her friend is literally laughing at her tantrum at this point and trying to tell her just compromise, but she's getting a bigger attitude with her friend. So she settles for another drink and it's time to pay. The tip question comes up on our tablet and I don't really expect her to tip or care if she does. But she does this dramatic snort laugh and goes, "Tuh," before dramatically clicking what I know is the 0% option. Bet she felt so nice leaving with her drink knowing she made 2 teenage girls' job harder. Probably added more flavor to the drink. They did explain that the powder already has sugar in it. And matcha usually is pretty earthy. There's not a whole lot of sweetness to the regular plain matcha. But if they add sugar to it, it's gonna be sweet. Also, why do you want your matcha that sweet anyway? Matcha's not supposed to be sweet. It's supposed to be nice and earthy. And if your matcha doesn't taste like grass, get the hell out of here. You don't really want matcha. You want a green drink and you want to be able to call it matcha. Matcha tastes like grass. Before I start talking out of my ass. Okay, so kind of. It's kind of supposed to taste like grass. Like, there's supposed to be a grassy tone to it, but it's not supposed to taste like straight up fucking lawn clippings. It's supposed to have a grassy, earthy tone to it that I personally really like. I love matcha. I don't know why, but it just scratches my little brain. But like, matcha's not supposed to be particularly sweet. It's supposed to be green tea, but like a little bit, I don't know. I feel like you don't really want matcha at that point. You just want green drink. Oh, my contacts are dry as hell. I don't know if my eyes are just bothered or if these contacts are old, so that might be part of the problem, definitely, is that these contacts are pretty old. But they feel dry as fuck on my eyes. Like I'm blinking and it feels like, you know? It doesn't feel that bad, I'm being dramatic, but they are old and I probably should throw them away, but like, the other green contact lenses that I have are like really bright green. It's like when the K-pop, I'm gonna put in a picture. I'm gonna put in a picture of Leafy like Stray Kids going with the fucking contact lenses. You know what, you'll see what I mean. But that's how my green lenses are. I bought these new contact lenses and they're really pretty and really pigmented and really colorful, but they are fucking, it's not like these where it's more like, oh, kind of muted, kind of like slightly more natural looking, like they're in your fucking face. Daya's eyes are aquamarine. Daya and Ruby Kurosawa's eyes are aquamarine. They're not green and they're not blue, they're aquamarine. And I had blue, but like my blue ones are apparently not my prescription because I was driving to a convention and I'm looking up at the stoplight and I'm like, damn it, was that street sign always that blurry? Huh, I don't recall it being that blurry. And like, I move it like out of my, like, my pupil to where I can actually see. I move the contact lens away and I'm looking and I'm like, I think these are really old. I think these are really old. So they're pretty old and they are not my prescription. So if I had the blue ones in right now, I probably wouldn't be able to read the screen, which is crazy because without my glasses, see where my computer is? I can't see my computer. I can't read the screen. I can't read the keyboard. From this far away, this far away, I can't fucking read it. It's crazy. I didn't realize how blind I was until I like took my glasses off because my head started hurting one day and I'm looking to do my homework and I'm like, I can't fucking see, bro. I would love to get LASIK, but apparently you need a solid prescription strength for like, I think they said 2 years before they can consider LASIK, and my prescription just gets a little bit worse every single time I go back, so I'm not even up for consideration right now. Fucking sucks, because I'd love to be able to see. Our next story comes from Temptation Tapestry. When customer satisfaction costs 8 cents. Last Friday, it was business as usual at the register when a man strode up with purpose, holding a crinkled receipt in one hand and a store flyer in the other. I need a refund, he said firmly, with the air of someone about to right a great wrong. I glanced down at the receipt. Just 2 days old. The item in question? A can of soup. The refund he wanted? 8 cents. Before I could ask why he was so insistent, he pointed to the flyer. Apparently the soup was supposed to be 8 cents cheaper, and he was there to make sure he got the advertised discount. It's not the money, he said, with a serious look in his eye. It's the principle. I tried explaining that the register couldn't process refunds this small, hoping he'd laugh it off and move on, but he just stood there, arms crossed. resolute. So I sighed, reached into my pocket, and pulled out a dime, placing it in his hand. I kept a straight face and said, "Here you go, sir. Keep the change." He blinked for a moment, clearly not expecting that, then pocketed the dime with a satisfied nod. "Thank you," he said. "That's all I wanted." With that, he turned and strode out of the store. As soon as he was out the door, I couldn't help but chuckle to myself. Sometimes customer satisfaction really does come down to the smallest of change. This was written really well. This was written like a full-out story. That was fun to read. I was in drama in high school, so yeah. Bro, this reminds me of when there was a woman who came into my pharmacy and she had the FSA card, but it was for the over-the-counter, and she's trying to buy a whole bunch of stuff, and she comes up to my register and I'm dealing with her. I'm scanning things and then try to use the payment, and it takes off some of it, but not all of it. And she looks at me and goes, "Well, I'm not paying that." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do about it then?" And she's like, "Well, can't you take off what they're not paying for?" And I'm like, "I don't know what they're not paying for. It doesn't fucking tell me what it doesn't pay for. It just tells me how much is paid." And she wants to argue about that. And she's like, "These are protein shakes. This is technically medicine." And I'm like, "I'm not fucking arguing with you about the fact. I'm just saying they're not paying for it." And she gets on the phone with her OTC card company and is saying, "Well, this should be covered. Well, that should be covered." And I'm standing at the register for 15 minutes and I'm like, "Oh, fucking well, I have other things I need to be doing." I'm like, "Okay, well, this magazine that you're probably wanting to buy isn't gonna be covered." She goes, and I'm like, "Oh, so you want the government to pay for your fucking OTC protein shakes, but you want to pay for your $15 Better Homes and Gardens magazine? Get the fuck out of my line." That shit made me so mad. And I'm not saying that you can't need money and need financial help and then also get a little bit of enjoyment by Better Homes and Gardens magazine, but that's not what it's about. It's the principle.
Oh, brother.
No, but she was there for like 30 minutes trying to be on the phone and trying to get me to wring stuff out and put things back and try and figure out what it is that's not covered. And I'm like, "I'm not doing this all day. You can call that company and they will send you a pamphlet of all the OTC stuff that's covered, and then you can come in and do all this. I'm not doing this right now with you over and over again." I got a lot of stories today. I got a lot of stories up my sleeve. Our final story for today comes from user Expensive. Is this the same one? Hold on, is this the same user? It is! So this is another story from Expensive-Love-6785. Angry woman demands refund at boba shop because her daughter didn't like the drink. So this happened almost 2 years ago, but I remembered it when joining this subreddit. For context, I work at a well-known boba shop in a busy mall. All the employees were either high school students or college kids, ages ranging from 14 to 20, and the two managers were married. The owner almost abandoned this location to focus on another one. Our managers were very cheap and never wanted to waste a single drop of product or give a refund unless really needed. Now the story. My, at the time 18 female, coworker and I, at the time 15 female, were working on a mildly busy day. This woman comes in with her 3 kids, her oldest daughter, middle son, and youngest daughter. They ordered their 3 drinks like normal, and some of them got slushes instead of milk tea. Whatever, pretty normal. When we hand them their drinks on the side of the kiosk, they try it right there. Could have moved for other customers, but okay. A little bit later, she comes back in line and starts asking my coworker for a refund because her youngest daughter didn't like the slush. Not in exchange for something she might have liked, but an entire refund. So my coworker tells her that since we didn't make her drink incorrectly, we cannot give her a refund, as we have a policy to only give refunds when it's a mistake on our part. She argues with her for way too long before asking to speak to the manager. My coworker tells her that our manager isn't here at the moment, but we can get her on the phone. At this point, I can't remember if there were other customers behind her or if we had finished the line. Anyways, my coworker goes in the back and calls our boss to explain the situation. She comes to the front, puts her phone on speaker, and the woman explains her side of the story. My boss then says the same thing. Since it was no mistake on our part and they didn't mess up your drinks, we will not be able to give you a refund. She basically storms off after that with all her kids to a sitting area right in front of our shop/kiosk, practically vibrating with anger as her kids look sad or maybe embarrassed. Eventually, after some time, they leave and I see that she left all the drinks in a circle around the edge of the garbage bin where they were sitting. Like, okay, okay? You wasted your own money, not ours. I mean, like, if you don't like something, you can just ask, like, oh, hey, could I try something else? Which is usually what people do. Like, if you go to a restaurant and you really don't like what you ordered, which is why I usually stick to single things that I know that I like, because I am scared to try things that I don't like, because I don't want to have to pay for things that I don't like, and then have to pay for another thing that I do like, because I'm kind of picky. But usually you'll be like, hey, I really don't like this. I really thought that I would. Am I able to get a different thing? Am I able to get an exchange? Could I get something else? Usually they're pretty cool with that. They don't care. But if you're gonna be a bitch about it, they're probably gonna care. Thank you guys for watching my newest YouTube video. I hope you guys liked it. This is a new subreddit. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to read more stories just because they tend to be shorter, but I think it's pretty fun just because I have very similar experiences. There is a r/Tales from the Pharmacy subreddit, but I'm not too sure if I would like that one as much just because I feel like it's less drama and more like nice kind of heartwarming stories sometimes, which I want the drama. I want the problems. I want to sit there and laugh at people and be like, oh my god, imagine acting like that. Couldn't be me. So if you guys really want, maybe we can check it out. So if you guys want, maybe we could check that out sometime in the future. But anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Calphony. Be sure to follow my dance group on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Valare Idols. And be sure to like and subscribe if you liked and subscribed it. See ya!